my name's Lynda Sterling. I'm a visual artist and I live in Old Trafford in Manchester. I'm married, I've got 4 children, and I'm a follower of Jesus, and I am passionate about community and about creativity and bringing those two together, which led to about 2 years ago setting up OT Creative Space, where I'm sat now, which is in an old butcher's shop that we've converted into artist studio space and community art space, and I'll share a little bit more about that later on. But today I am going to be talking to you about community, creativity and connection. And I view art very much like I view Jesus. That art should be available, accessible, relevant to people, no matter what their background, where they live or how they choose to live. And that's what Jesus is to everybody, and how we should be proclaiming Jesus to people and sharing Jesus with people. But also art, I think, really should be there and can offer so much to people in all walks of life. I'm going to ask a few questions today for you to have a little think about. I'm going to kind of work through them, and then at the end you can think about actually how do they fit into your life, your community, your mission, what your dreams, your God-given vision, how does that work for you? So first up is, where do I see Jesus? Someone asked me a little while ago whether I thought Jesus was an artist. And I took a little while to think about that, and then thought, actually, yeah, Jesus is an artist, because Jesus transforms things that other people might disregard, see as useless, ugly, unworthy. And Jesus transforms those into something new, into something filled with hope, into life, into beauty. And that's very much how I view artists, creating something out of nothing, turning things that have been abandoned, misused. This is what I do in my own practice. I like to work with abandoned objects and doors, fridges, spaces where people don't want to go, alleyways, and actually turn them into something beautiful and something that makes people question their surroundings, look again, and ultimately see some hope in life. And I do feel that this is a God-given kind of talent within me, that God has instilled this ability to see beauty in brokenness, to see beauty down rough edges of places, broken bits. So I see Jesus in the alleyways, I see Jesus in the rubbish, I see Jesus in the abandoned fridges, I see Jesus in the graffitied walls, in the broken windows, in those places where nobody wants to go. I see Jesus because Jesus is there. Jesus is in the broken. Jesus is in the darkness. And Jesus is the light in the darkness. And that is something I cling to in my own arts practice, to try and be a little bit of that. Jesus is light in the darkness. And that's something I've taken with me into working within the community and arts, and eventually now into OT Creative Space. So about 6 years ago, I set up the community project called the Back Gallery, which was our alleyway at the time was pretty nasty. Dumped rubbish, fly tipping, people just left their bins there, nobody would, hang out there. It was not a usable space, it was a dumping ground, and it was causing people, various members in the community, causing them quite, bit of distress. They didn't like it, it was upset, people were angry, frustrated. And there were different ideas about what might be done, put up cameras, start kind of knocking on doors, dumping rubbish in other places. But actually, for me, I saw the opportunity to do something different and turn it into an art gallery. So that's what we set about doing. A number of us got cleaning, tidying, getting stuff taken away, and then putting artwork up on the walls, permanent artworks that can stay there. And then I set up a running a monthly art club where both children, families, older people, all different residents could come out together into the common ground and have a cup of tea and make something together, do something creative. And that was a really great way of kind of seeing people connect through being creative, and also seeing people use a space that was otherwise, just a dumping zone. So that kind of sort of started off the journey into where we are now as a family, where I am as an artist, into OT Creative Space. We sold our house, mega. We loved our house, loved where we live, but round the corner, an old butcher's shop came up for sale with a flat above in not a very good state of repair, shall I say. But we sold our house, bought this old butcher's shop and set about renovating it so we could move, me, my husband, kids, move them all into the flat, and then work on turning the butcher's shop into studio space for artists and community art space. And that's where I'm sat right now. And our vision really of OT Creative Space is not just to have a fancy building. We want to be somewhere that's bringing art and creativity to where people are. So we're on a little row of shops. There's a fried chicken shop next door, a pound shop, a little coffee shop. We're where normal life happens. And this gives us the opportunity to showcase stuff in our window. But also we're set up as a CIC, we can bid for funding, we've been running projects out in the community. Even before we'd renovated the space, we were working out with groups that already existed, and different groups of people, and kind of going out to where people were to work creatively with them. We're quite aware that even though we've renovated our space now in lockdown, although we're not quite ready to have people in yet due to restrictions, but even though we've got this space, this is not the be all and end all. Like a church building is not the be all and end all. We don't want to invest so much into a building because there's so many people that actually will never set foot through that door. No matter how welcoming we can be, there's a barrier, there's something that stops them. So whilst we do have a building and we will be able to have people in, this just facilitates us going out to where people are and connecting with them there through whatever way that we can do. I'd just like to mention at this point that OT Creative Space, we've set up as a CIC, but we're not a Christian organisation. We've got a board of directors from all walks of life, faiths, no faiths, and really, we strive to have the community really involved in what we're doing. We're providing a voice and a way to be creative for the whole community. So actively seeking members of different, backgrounds, different faiths to come with us on this journey. We don't want to be people or me as an artist to come in and do something for the community. It's very much working with the community and seeing what they want and supporting them and kind of journeying together on that rather than just going in to do something. And I really do believe that creativity brings about hope and life and connection. And we don't share Jesus verbally or anything in any of our workshops of what we do, but ultimately, my hope is that actually through being creative, through that process, that ultimately leads people into connection with their Creator, with God. So I've spoken a lot about connection, and you may be thinking, well, this past year, how have you been able to connect with people? And I tell you what, when lockdown first hit, it was a real challenge to think about how can we do this? We're all about bringing people together to get creative. And when you can't physically be together, what do you do? But we didn't want to run away from that. We kind of, our initial response, we've got our window on the high street. And so initially we had this display in the window and it just said, love your neighbour. We had a little hashtag, love your neighbour OT. And really we wanted to showcase what people were doing in that initial response. There was lots of different community initiatives or just simple, neighbours doing something kind, getting some milk for their neighbour, something simple like that. And we said that phrase, we wrote that phrase in lots of different languages that are spoken in Old Trafford, so it could really catch people from all different communities, catch their eye and know that it was relevant to them. And invited people to share what they were doing, and we could then share that with others. So that's where we started. We've been displaying things, in the windows, a great place. There's nowhere else to go. We want to be thinking about actually how can people respond to stuff? How can people view stuff? How can people see stuff? So we've kept displays going on in our window, but also we've thought about actually where are people? People are in their homes, but where else can they go? And we looked at actually the parks. The parks have become the new pub, the new cafe, the new community centre, sports ground. Everybody was in the parks. So that gave us an idea to start creating some sort of little mini trails that people could do in the parks. We created mobiles out of rubbish so that people could see something and then have a go with items they had at home themselves. We had poetry, inviting people to look at their surroundings that they'd come pretty used to in a new way. And all sorts of other things, flowers, Easter eggs, angels. We had angels at Christmas for people to spot. And it was just a really simple way of kind of letting people know we were there and people being able to join in something that did feel communal because people were doing the same thing and spotting the same things, but it enabled people to stay apart as well. So we also did a little exhibition along Ayres Road in the trees. We cut out these perspex clouds and we titled it Every Cloud. And we asked the community, both through our window online, what 3 words they'd use to encourage people during this time, during the pandemic. And we had some lovely responses. It will pass, you can do it, you got this, Black Lives Matter, something that's important to people. Eat your greens was another one, which was, quite nice, encouraging us to stay healthy as well, not all that chocolate. And they were hung in the trees, so as people just walked down the street or drove down the street, they could see something and hopefully feel uplifted and encouraged. We also recognise that actually not everybody is able to access stuff outside, and also whilst we did do a number of videos and Facebook Lives and things on YouTube and stuff, not everybody has access to technology either. And also I would say with technology, in my mind I'm thinking, oh gosh, not another video to watch, and obviously I shouldn't say that because you're watching my video now and I hope you're enjoying it. But we've been saturated with online content over the past year, and I think almost we become immune to it or just let stuff wash over us rather than fully engaging within it. So whilst online content is good and that is a great way to kind of connect with people and on social media and all sorts of stuff, actually we wanted to create stuff for people who couldn't access that or it just didn't work for them. So we've made loads of creative packs up, really encouraging people to just in their own home, providing them with some simple tools that they might not have themselves to have a go at creating things, and then also offering, they could display their work in their windows so other people could appreciate that and enjoy that as well. So our most recent project we've been working on is OT Art Trail, and that's where we are creating 6 new murals around the area on the ends of houses and in parks and things. And that's quite a big funded project, but we didn't want to to just bring artists in and create work for people. Actually, we wanted the community to have a voice in that, to say that actually what's important to them, what can we celebrate and highlight about what's great about our community. So we did a number of different community engagement sort of events, were planned to be in person, but that couldn't happen even in the parks. We had to do some stuff online. We gave out loads of creative packs. We put stuff in our window and really invited people to, give us information back about what you want to see. And that project's really near the end. The murals will be created in the next week or so, which is very exciting. And, as we ease lockdown, people can come out and kind of see something new, look at their area in a new way and feel part of something that actually, even though we've all been trapped inside, something good is coming of that, and there's a lot to celebrate and to really feel excited about their community again. So we're also looking at planning a load of creative workshops when we can have people back in our space, but they won't just be in the space. Actually, we're looking at doing walks in the parks just with small groups, doing some stuff outside that can be a little bit more drop-in rather than kind of sort of more formal stuff inside, and also kind of thinking about people's health and well-being coming out of lockdown. We know there is a lot of people struggling with their mental health, whether they had issues before COVID or actually it's something new to them. And we do believe that creativity can bring about great restoration in this way. It can give a new focus of something to have a go at and actually let your guard down a little bit and be able to connect with other people in that way. And also thinking about actually, young people desperate for something to do, something new, something different, where they're able to come and explore something in a different way and have a little bit more freedom. And also, people living by themselves or older people, pretty, isolated and lonely. So we're looking at how we can support these people in our community coming out of lockdown and really kind of, we want to try lots of different things to see how we can help people and, slowly draw them out and connect with them in new and fresh and meaningful ways. So I'm not sure if you caught my questions in there or not, but the 3 questions I have for you to have a think about are: number 1, where do you see Jesus? Is that in certain people? Isn't that in a certain area? Is that in spaces where nobody goes? Where do you see Jesus? Number 2 is, how can you go there? So how can you go meet with those people? How can you get into that area that maybe nobody goes? How can you find that abandoned space and transform it? How can you go there? And the final question is, what creative gifts has God given you, and how can you use them to meet people where they are? I'd encourage you to think outside the box, outside the little screen that we've become so used to. Ask God to give you new vision for what you can do, and think about how can you do that creatively. How can you connect with people creatively where you live and where you serve and where you love the people? So I'm excited to hear what comes for this, what you're doing, and maybe you've started something, or you've just got an idea, or maybe you just need encouragement to keep going, or maybe this is something completely new for you. But do have a think, get creative, connect with people however you can in a safe, responsible way, and trust God to use you and your gifts. Thank you. Goodbye.